In this video, we take a look inside the mind of a killer, Bryan Kohberger. We make this video in honor of the victims. This isn't about excusing evil, it's about learning from it. Because if identifying these traits could stop even one future crime, it's worth looking deeper. Bryan Kohberger came to criminology seeking understanding. Books, lectures, research. He immersed himself in the science of crime. But at some point, relentless study became fixation. Instead of learning about violence, he began to embody it. Criminal profiling shows that intellectual obsession, coupled with emotional isolation, builds dangerous cognitive loops. The line between study and action blurred until it vanished. Bryan lived in quiet solitude. Friends were few. Social media posts hint at loneliness rather than camaraderie. He struggled to form connections, especially with peers and women. Autism spectrum traits may have contributed: difficulty reading emotions, rigid routines, and limited empathy. These characteristics alone don't cause violence, but they can amplify vulnerability, especially when mixed with darker tendencies. Months before the killings, he obtained the weapon. He practiced. He tested. Criminal pattern analysis reveals that criminals who plan methodically are driven by a desire for control. Control over fear, chaos, or internal turmoil. The weapon became a tool to seize power over his own narrative. Then he began visiting the targeted locations. Not just once, but repeatedly. Before and after, this is known as ritual behavior, common among offenders who relive their actions to process guilt, thrill, or self-justification. Each return reaffirmed the act, weaving it deeper into his psyche. Language matters. In conversations, Bryan spoke dispassionately about violence. Linguistic profiling shows that emotional detachment in describing harm indicates a disconnect from human suffering. It's a psychological distance that erodes moral boundaries. His academic stress was immense. Graduate-level studies in violence bring intense content. Stress reaction models suggest that combining academic pressure, isolation, and obsession with dark material can create internal breakdown. Instead of resilience, the mind fractures. Violence emerges not as anomaly, but as inevitable expression. Examining his digital life reveals interest in true crime, murder documentaries, and weapon forums. Behavioral linking shows how some individuals reinforce dangerous worldviews through echo chambers. When cradled in isolation, such reinforcement grows unchecked. Looking at personality structure through AI personality analysis highlights traits like perfectionism, intellectualization, and emotional constriction. He expected rational outcomes and struggled with broken expectations. The failure of human connection likely intensified feelings of alienation. Comparisons to historical cases show patterns: intense planning, social isolation, ritualistic revisits, and unemotional language. Kohberger's case aligns, but it also raises questions about early interventions. Could mental health support and social integration have altered this path? His eventual guilty plea signals a collapse of internal resistance. When confronted with the reality of the evidence, a confession is what offenders may opt for to control and end the narrative. A final surrender on their own terms, in their own warped cognitive script. There is also a broader context. AI deep reasoning invites us to consider how intelligence alone is powerless without emotional grounding. Tools without empathy, knowledge without understanding, this imbalance is dangerous. Kohberger's case reminds us that preventing violence is more complex than monitoring external warning signs. As we continue to analyze, it's essential to remember these insights are rooted in modeling and pattern recognition, not absolutes. Real human minds are messy, unpredictable, and fragile. AI can assist by offering a map, not a destination. As we look deep into the mind of the killer, we must never forget the real human cost. The victims of these crimes, Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee, were bright lights extinguished far too soon. Their families, friends, and entire communities continue to carry a pain no one should ever have to endure. Our thoughts and prayers remain with them always. If anything can be learned from understanding the psychological descent that leads to such tragedy, let it be used to save lives. Not to sensationalize, but to educate and prevent. If recognizing early warning signs or behavioral changes in someone can help stop even one act of violence, then this kind of awareness becomes a powerful tool for good. Together, through empathy, vigilance, and responsible action, we can honor the memory of the victims, not just in words, but through purpose. If you found this deep dive valuable, please consider subscribing to AI Daily Impact. We break down complex cases through the lens of artificial intelligence, not to glorify killers, but to better understand what drives them and how we can prevent tragedies in the future. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you believe awareness can lead to prevention.